What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome back to another episode of Horror Movie Remakes with my co-host, Scott Harding from the You Run Podcast.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, you're laughing already, which doesn't bode well for this episode. It's going to fall apart. The wheels are not going to come on, let alone come off on this episode.
Yeah, I guess that is probably a good sign, a bad sign. Yeah. You're super excited about this one, right?
I'm really excited about this one, but for all the wrong reasons. I don't even. Honestly, for the first time ever, when we've recorded, and we've covered some bad remakes, and you and me both advocate for remakes, and there's always a reason for them, and even if they're bad, they make people go and watch the original material. Yeah. And this movie undercuts everything we've been saying since we started doing the remake series. It's so bad. I don't know what to say. Where would you like to start in this car crash of a movie?
Well, okay, so I'm going to start by saying that I'm actually not a giant. We're talking about the new Children of the Corn, in case it wasn't abundantly clear.
Yes.
I am not a big fan of that franchise in general. I think it's fine. Like, okay, scary kids, fine. I don't really. It's not one of my like, oh, you know what classic I really love, like that. It's not coming up on a list for me.
No.
So I didn't have any. I went into this with absolutely no expectations because I don't really care about the original. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
are you a fan of the?
No, so the original's okay. It's probably the best of the bad Stephen King adaptations that come out in the 80s. It's the better one of the bad ones. They've rehashed this movie, 10, 11 times, and each one has got progressively worse. Yeah. And this one, the acting quality is terrible. Nothing makes. And did anything make any sense to you? Why did the adults not fight back at any point at all? I didn't get it. I didn't understand what was going on half the time.
I watched this only because we were covering it, because I really again, I'm not interested. I wasn't interested in the original, so I didn't really care about this, but I knew I got not very far into it, and I knew that you were going to say that it's like at some point, like there's a bunch of you and you're bigger. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a violent person, but if 15 small children tried to corral me into a prison cell, I'm pretty sure I could take out at least 10 of them before they got me in the cell.
Yeah,
some of the kills are good. I'll give it. Some of the kills.
Yes, I did like
good.
Some of the kills.
But that's not enough to make me stick around for an hour. What is it? Not just over 90 minutes of my life I wasted watching this.
I think so. Yeah, it's just over an hour and a half. Well, and I think so. I think there's a lot of weaknesses. I think the story is very weak. Very weak.
There was a story.
The attempt at a story, is that better? The attempt at a story is really weak.
Okay.
I can't believe you corrected me. You're like, wait a
second. There's no story. They tried.
The would-be story that is kind of presented in a weird way, I think, is really weak. The acting was not great at all. But you know what? I think the weakest thing of it all, the weakest thing is the creature, is the monster from the corn.
Yeah, the thing that lives behind the thing from behind the rose. He who walks behind the rose. Yeah,
behind the rose. Yeah.
In the original was actually scary.
Was scary.
And in this, and the thing is that they overly use CGI in this, and they could have quite easily gone down the route of, I don't know, something like Smile, and they could have given us a big monster like we get at the end of Smile. They could have gone that route, but they didn't even bother doing that. It was just the lack of effort put into this movie One thing I did notice, did you notice in the credits whose name was missing? There was a very
I,
important name missing in the credits.
I
Stephen
don't even
King's
think it.
name is not attached to this.
Oh, I didn't even watch the
His name,
credits. Oh.
yeah, I did in case there was a post-credit scene teeing up a sequel that I'd have rushed to go and see.
Right. Yeah.
I've been conditioned by Marvel now. I'm not allowed to leave. I'm not allowed to leave a movie
That's
until the credits have ended.
That's true. When I went and saw Scream in theaters, my best friend's like, "These movies don't have post credits, right?" And I was like, "Not usually. Well, let's just wait, because I'll be upset if we leave and we miss something."
Yeah,
I was gonna
Marvel have
touch on
given
the
a whole
concept.
generation.
Yeah,
Sorry, go on. You go. Go.
you're fine. I was gonna go back to the CGI thing because a lot of the gore effects were CGI.
Yeah.
Like when the teenage boy gets hit with the baseball bat, that was CGI, and that could have been practical. And
Yeah.
then I don't know if you noticed this because you've watched this twice, right?
Unfortunately, so yes.
Okay, well, I only watched it one time. But did you notice that they showed the damage to the preacher's eyes too early? So
No.
when they pin him down before she has done anything
Yeah.
to his eyes, they're they're the wounds are already on his eyes. And then she leans up and she comes down and it's not like that. And then she does what she does and then suddenly there's wounds again.
Wow.
It's like they put it together out of order or something, but I was like, why are his eyes like that? Literally nothing has happened yet. They just pulled him out of the jail cell or whatever.
Yeah.
And they lay him down. His eyes are already gouged, but that hasn't
Oh
happened
my
yet.
god. The thing is, I don't understand. So this movie was made in 2020.
Yeah.
It was set for release and it was good to go. And then they shelved it for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine they shelved it because that someone watched it and went, "This is not very good."
Yeah.
But why they then went back to it 3 years later and went, "This isn't very good, but let's put it out because we know it's going to make money." Because Children of the Corn movies make money even if they're terrible. Or
Yeah,
is
that's
it
true.
because it's the end of the tax year and they needed to do I don't know, some sort of tax write-off?
Yeah,
uh,
I, I don't know. I think it's I think the CGI and the monster, even if you changed even if you changed those things, it wouldn't have added enough because our main little demon child that's behind us right now,
is
super
not
lackluster.
scary.
No.
Hmm. Yeah, like that girl who is the ringleader of the
Mm-hmm.
gang. There
Mm-hmm.
is no way in real life she would be a ringleader of anything because she's annoying and no one would like her. It's true. Did she
No,
not
you're
annoy you when you were watching it? Did she not really grate on you every time she's like, "Are we going to do this? Shut up." No, we're not. I hated her
yeah.
so much.
And it was weird because and maybe I missed something. So okay, because the opening scene is the kid Boyd comes out of the corn. She's sitting outside out of the orphanage or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
And he goes inside and starts killing adults or whatever. That's in the same town, right?
yeah, yeah.
As all this other stuff. But it felt like she I don't it was weird like her place in the group of kids was off to me. Like it felt like I don't know how to explain that part, but it just felt like it was disconnected. It was like all of a sudden she went through this traumatic thing and now all of a sudden everybody's doing what she none of that like lined up for me at all.
No, and they could have explained that even with a simple line of dialogue that now people are attracted to her or whatever. They could have
Yeah.
made the effort to do that. And I'll be honest, I don't even think this remake is strong enough to make people want to watch the original. I don't think many people will make it all the way through this.
I'm inclined to agree. I think if this were like a first watch and I'd never seen any of the others, I don't think I would be interested. I mean, I think, and it's really, it sucks because I think like there are some things that could have been done to make it better. I don't know that there's enough material to have made it this like outstanding remake, but I think that a cult of kids doing stuff to adults could be very scary, could be very unsettling. It could be some great imagery. Like I think it had potential in
Yeah.
that way, but I think they should have left the impact or the influence of the corn as like a whisper instead of making it the creature, because the creature like fucked that whole thing up for me. I was like, and then they do that whole build up to seeing it for the first time where you're looking at the reporter and there's like everyone's like, oh my God, everyone's reacting, and it's like the build up, build up, build up, and then you see it and you're like, are you kidding me?
It is the horror Groot. That's what it is. Anyone who's not seen it yet, that's exactly what it is.
You're right. Oh God, you're right.
And when this comes out, I am gonna edit "I am Groot" over that scene and release it as a reel, because that's what it is. The only thing that was missing, that he wasn't dancing to 80s music.
Oh, yeah. Maybe in the sequel.
I hate to say it because I don't ever want to see any franchise put to bed, but I think this one needs to be left alone now. I think there needs to be at least a decade gap before someone goes and touches this again.
You know who would have been great as our little demon child? The girl who played I'm drawing a blank on her name. The sister from Black Phone.
Yes.
What? I can't think of her name.
No, she's fabulous. It's fabulous in the Black Phone as well.
She would have been very convincing, I think.
Yeah, and
in that role.
The problem with this is it would have worked. A cult of kids attacking grown-ups. That idea, that concept is fantastic.
Yep.
But you can't have 15 kids attack 10 adults and then expect the audience to swallow that of, oh, okay, we believe that. You need them to work almost like pack animals. They hunt down and they catch the weakest one or one that's on their own, or they take like a young adult, someone who's like 19, 20, 21, and that's their first victim. And then the dad comes looking for that person, and then that's their second victim.
Yeah.
Actually build it in a logical way, as opposed to them just like stomping into town and going, right, all adults, get in the jail cells. And all the adults going, okay, then please don't hurt me with that knife, 7-year-old boy.
And and then all of the all the bodies on the road was so dramatic. I was like, oh, come on. Like, they're like all the death, and then like the teenagers to get and it's there's a couple of the deaths that I thought were really good. I did like the abusive father's death, the one that was hung.
Yeah.
That was good. The teenagers, the two girls that were hung in that barn or whatever, they looked very good from a gore perspective. Like, they looked really good. But honestly, when those things happen, it almost made me even more agitated, because I'm like, see, like, it could have been better. Like,
yeah, but even with the kills that were good, you don't, for every single one of those, see how they actually logistically make that happen.
Well, that's true. As kids, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how do you logistically get that to happen? You kind of see the build and the aftermath, and the bit in the middle, which is the bit of like, how did you actually set that trap? How did you make all that work? That bit's missing. And I think that's missing because the director went, I don't know how to do that. We'll leave it up to people's imagination. But he does that with every single bit of the movie.
No, you're right.
We'll let people fill in the blanks.
And then the whole scene with the adults in the dirt pit. that was my least favorite like moment, I think, because I was just sitting there like, y'all are just, every adult just stood there and was like, I guess this is how it ends.
And it really annoyed me. And I'm not advocating the violence against children, but if you're in this situation, I am taking out many children with kicks to the face without any remorse whatsoever. And I'm an older person, but I'm faster than a 7 or an 8-year-old. Even
I,
being a little bit more thick set than I used to, I can outrun them. One swift kick and a run, and I'm in a car. They can't drive. I've left the town. I'm fine. And there's just nothing in it there's no realism to anything in this movie.
no,
I
yeah,
I wanted this to be. I knew it was going to be bad because I know all the Children of the Corn films get progressively worse. So I knew it was going to be on the lower end.
yeah.
I went into this hoping that they committed to that, knowing what they were being part
Oh,
of,
right.
and they
Yeah.
they just kind of went nuts with it and just went wild. But they didn't.
No, instead they tried to make a serious one.
Yeah, so they've got the setup for a really crap, funny movie, and instead they tried to make, I don't know, Pride and Prejudice in the Corn. It was awful.
Oh, that'll be the clip I take out to promote.
Oh, fabulous.
Oh my god. Prejudiced in the Corn. I think that yeah, I just, oh god. I think I texted you or messaged you. I was like 5 minutes in and I was like, I just started this.
And I replied, it doesn't get better.
It doesn't get any better.
It's downhill from here. You've peaked already at 5 minutes. You're in for a ride.
And then adding like, so they tried, this goes back to the attempt at story. They tried to add like a reason to her. I don't even know her name, the main character. They tried to add like a depth to a reason why she did it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, because the story is right that this kid comes out of the corn, picks up the gun or the whatever he picks up first, changes his mind, picks up the knife, kills the guy that comes outside, goes inside the orphanarium. Orphanarium, is that right?
Orphanarium,
yeah. Orphanarium, where the kids swim around in the
orphanage. That's it.
Is it called an orphanarium in the and I think that's from, I feel like I'm not 100% incorrect on that, but anyway.
Yeah. It's definitely, you had the kids, you had Dory and Nemo and Gil.
Stop it. I'm gonna look it up. I feel like that is correct in some manner. It's not.
If you're Googling, I'm so desperate now for it to bring up a picture of the ocean with children in it. That will make my day.
It just says orphanarium, an orphanage.
Okay.
A public institution for the care and protection of children without parents. It's called, you know where I got that from? The place that Leela is from in Futurama is an orphanarium. I didn't just totally come out of nowhere. I've heard that before. Anyway, I feel validated. We can move on. So he goes into the orphanage and to kill the adults, and then the police or whoever, their response is to kill everyone in there with gas.
Yeah,
that's what happens, right?
Yeah, which, without meaning to be too close to the edge, is not too far from the truth with most American police forces, to be fair.
Yeah,
they do have a habit of gas and fire first, and will ask questions afterwards,
and then just figure it out after the fact.
Yeah. Sorry, America.
You're not wrong. No, you're not wrong. Well, and but I'm going back to the whole thing of like, it was one kid.
Yeah.
Like who killed the whole staff. I don't know how many people. That's ambiguous, but it's just like, and you just shoot the kid. Like, you right? Like, I mean, I hate to say that, but if there's a murderous child and you're worried about them hurting somebody, then that would be, but instead they kill everyone. And then that is supposed to be her motivation, I guess, for like what she does, because she says that later in the film.
Yeah, but that motivation is like, it's so weak. It's like, I saw a police kill a little boy once, so now I want all adults to die.
Yeah, and she's like, let's take over the world. All kids will be this way. And you're like, what the hell? We don't even
And
have. There's no cornfields anywhere near here. No kids. It messes with
no,
the whole lore of what is happening to begin with. Like I don't.
and
It's
not only that, there's a massive flaw in her plan. The kids will take over the world, and then guess what? You grow up, you become adults. What are you going to do then? Are you going to have like a cut-off point where you go, "You're 21 tomorrow, so you know what's going to happen. We're all going to hunt you down." It's just it,
yeah.
it by adding that extra element of story to it, kind of just unwrote some of the hard work that's already happened in the franchise. It was just
Yeah.
bad.
Well, and don't they? And maybe I'm remembering this wrong. I don't remember how many even of the others I've even seen. I know the first two for sure. Isn't that a plot point in one of them where they kill? Right,
Yeah,
that's a thing,
an
right?
older,
Okay.
yeah,
Where when they get older, you like self-sacrifice or something, sort of. I think,
yeah.
right?
When you hit a certain age, that's it. You're done.
That's
You
right.
don't
Okay.
carry on
I
then.
couldn't remember
Yeah.
if I was misremembering that. Okay. Yeah, this was rough. So I already know, but what are you giving this out of, like, what would you give this out of 10?
Do you know it's the second movie I've scored 0 this year? So I scored 1 on my show, Cocaine Bear got 0, and this is getting a 0 as well. It is the worst remake I've ever watched, and arguably it's in the mix with the worst, not even horror, the worst movie I've ever seen. It's in the mix with those. It's terrible. Avoid.
Yeah.
Strong, do not watch this movie.
Yeah, it was not good. The only thing it has for me that I felt like made me like, it's like we said, like there's a couple moments where I was like, oh, that was really good. But to your point, there's all these things around it that take away from it and make it even more. Cause like you're right. That the guy that they hang with the horse, like he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And they got that noose around his neck and got him up on because he's standing on a table.
Yeah.
It's just like, so you're right. So even the moments that seemed good, it's like, how were they even able to do that? With same with the teenagers hanging in the shed or whatever thing's called.
Yeah, because that guy would not be easily. They're never going to lift that guy onto that table.
No.
And he was big enough that even if they were threatening him, I think his response would be, "No, you get on the table. I don't get on the table."
Yeah.
It's
well, he also beats his own kids. So like he ain't got no problem hitting kids.
Like just these kids. He doesn't hit these kids. It's plot hole city.
You know, it did make me laugh though. Was that after that happens, she says, the girl, whatever her name is, she says, he's not laughing now. Because he laughed at her in that meeting. I thought I'm sorry, that part made me laugh.
And the thing is, it's true. He's not laughing now because his acting career is probably ruined by this terrible movie. Poor guy.
Oh God, I don't know. I think I would probably. It's hard because I don't feel like it's worth watching, but there was a couple things I did like on a very small, like I would probably say like a 1 or a 2. Pretty low though.
Yeah, and it's one of those. I think that if they'd got like halfway through without the adults fighting back, which they didn't throughout the whole movie, if they'd have got halfway through and it reached the point where me as a viewer is going, "This is ridiculous. Why is no one fighting back?" and then just had one adult just take 4 or 5 of them out and then get tackled down and brutally killed.
Yeah.
And that then puts everyone else in line. That instantly makes it more believable.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree.
This was purely just, I don't know. I think this was just given to a director, make a Children of the Corn movie, kind of don't care what you do with it. We know it's going to make money when we go to streaming with it. Have fun. I don't think there was no guidance in this movie for the director or the production team. I think it was just, there's Children of the Corn, go make it.
And when we talked about like Poltergeist specifically, because I wasn't as like, I didn't like it as much as you. I still liked it. One of the things I think we talked about when we talked about that one was this concept that even if it is one that like isn't a 10 out of 10, it's nice to see when you can see a remake and you can tell that there was a respect and a love put into it,
Yeah.
which I think is what we saw in the Poltergeist remake. But with this one, to your point, there is no like love for the franchise or respect for the source material. It's very just like, I don't know, very scattered all over the place.
Yeah, it's not good. It's I honestly, when it finished, I sat there and I had a moment where I just kind of went, and then I didn't quite know what to do because I was so. I watch. I'm sure we all do. We watch a movie, and even if it's bad, we live on the hope that the final scene may redeem some of the other plot points and it might bring it full circle. And we'll sit through, we're horror fans, we sit through trash all the time. And we're happy to do that.
Yeah.
And when it gets to the end and you don't have kind of even an attempt to make it tie together and make it nice and neat, you just kind of go, oh, why do I like this? Why do I like this genre? Why do I commit to this genre? This film made me question my love of horror. That's how bad it is.
Oh my god! What was the Black Christmas? Black Christmas was the one where you were like, this made me. I always say you can't find a bad remake. This is a bad remake, and then now this one's so bad it's making you question your love for the genre.
Yeah, I'm going to start doing a romantic comedy podcast next instead.
Oh God. Romantic comedy. I think this was not great. I did not enjoy this. I don't recommend paying to watch it.
Yeah. It was a howler.
Your sound effects for when you don't like something are so funny. Black Christmas, it was this one you're just like, like
we need to get. The thing is, the whole purpose of this series is for us to say how great remakes are. We actually need a decent remake soon, because otherwise we're actually undoing the work we're trying to do.
The effort into the agenda of promoting remakes.
And we're then going, this remake's bad, don't watch this one. This remake's terrible, definitely don't watch this one. We need a good one at some point.
We haven't done. I think this is only the second one we both didn't really, or really didn't like, though.
Yeah, this one is. I think honestly, it's in my worst movies I've ever seen. Just such lack of effort and care, and genuinely didn't care what anyone thought of it. It was just to make money.
And I was literally disinterested pretty much from the beginning. Like, this wasn't something that kept my attention for any amount of time. I literally was like, we're going to talk about it. I got to watch this. So I did. But like, it was not something, it wasn't captivating or engaging. Like, it was, this was a rough one. So
no, if I wasn't watching it for this show, instantly I would have been like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I had to fight the urge. Yeah. Let's leave this one alone. Just leave it here. And if you're watching this, you should still go see the original, because at least the first one, because I think the first one is fine.
Again, it's not great, but it's
fine.
A half decent 80s movie with a decent story and some good practical effects. It's worth watching.
Yeah. And the story makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Way more sense. So, yeah.
Yeah. Should we put a nail in this one and put it to bed forever?
Yeah.
Goodbye, Children of the Corn.
Let's do it. Let's send it out to the fields. So that's our loving, caring, respectful thoughts on Children of the Corn. If you've seen this, leave your thoughts, especially if you loved it. Would love to read those arguments. And that's it for this episode of Remakes. Scott and I will be back next month. We're not going to tell you what we're talking about. You'll have to come back and see. But until then,
is that because we don't know what we're doing next? Is that because we've not discussed it yet?
We have.
We have. Yeah, we have. I'm joking.
We do. Yeah. No, it's because we're totally unprofessional, unprepared, and we don't know what we're doing.
If anyone's listened to my show, I think they can confirm that
That's
is
probably
me.
yeah. That's fair. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Have a good rest of your week, and Scott and I will see you next month.
See you later.